to be a VC?
By doing?
I mean, was it like an apprentice model where when you were working at CRV?
Not really. I mean, Mike just kind of, he gave me a 2-week, what he called a mountain goat assignment, which was basically, I was trying to figure out how to do 409A valuations for a few of our companies, and then I started looking at a bunch of companies, and then I found a few that I was really interested in, and I would pass it off to him for a little while, and then eventually I made my own first investment. But it was just sort of, it was an apprenticeship model in a very sort of loose and fast way. But I still sort of go to him for a lot of advice. But I mean, I go to a bunch of different people for a lot of advice. Yeah.
So in these CEOs or founders that you find, is there generally a trend in kind of their background as far as like that they've done startups in the past, that they come out of successful companies? So these are more doing that you're at seed stage funding. These are more just kind of first time or somebody that's just found a serious problem they want to fix.
Yeah, we see a lot of different types of entrepreneurs. I mean, Goroff Dillon at SnapLogic had been a successful CEO of an IPO level company. Jeff Smeal also IPO'd Tumbleweed back in 2000. Like there, and then we have like Leah Buskey of TaskRabbit. You know, she'd been working as a developer at IBM for 7 years. You know, so lots of different backgrounds. So it's hard to say that. I think if you look at like even the top 15 companies from 2005 to 2010, you look at the founders' backgrounds, they're very wildly different. There's no real trend of where do you find them, or you know, do they all exist at Stanford? Definitely not, right? It's just they're all over the place these days. And that's why I think, I mean, the democratization of innovation is such a powerful trend now that, you know, you could be anywhere and you could be an entrepreneur.
So do you think that you can do basically something like Silicon Valley outside of Silicon Valley? Like,
no, I don't think so. I think Silicon Valley is a unique animal, and that's why a lot of companies eventually move here. But can you start up a company somewhere else? Yeah, totally. But a lot of them end up moving here because the talent is here, right? Whether or not you like it, you know, engineers are freaking expensive here, but at the same time, they migrate here, and they're easier to find here. So, yeah.
Regarding the question she had asked about like serial entrepreneurs versus people who like are only like focused on like that one idea and really want to see it through. Is there like a best way for a founder to respond to someone who's asking about like possible exit opportunities? For someone who's like really fully invested in the idea and can't imagine doing anything else, it seems almost like that's a tough question where you're asking them to like step out of that role and say like, we're just here to make money, we're not here because we are fully caring about like, you know, the vision we have.
Well, I don't know if those are two totally separate questions, right? Because part of the question that people are asking around an exit is, where does this product ultimately live, right? Does it actually live within a large company? Is this an independent company? So again, I think that kind of mindset where you can't think about the exit is too product focused. And it has to be sort of, I'm looking for entrepreneurs who are not just product focused, but business model focused. So they should be living within that reality of, is this the kind of thing that's a feature within a larger product? And if so, what is that larger product? Is it something that I would build, or is it something that IBM provides? Is that a partnership that I need to have, or do I get acquired into them in the future, right? What is the ecosystem that I live in? They should totally understand that.
So I guess like for that one case where they see it as its like own entity and not a feature, you know, as part of somebody else's business, how do they handle that? Because how do you like
Then you say that, right? I mean, if someone's asking about an exit, you say, we're an independent company, we'll IPO in 5 years.
Okay, and that's an acceptable answer?
Sure.
All right, I know that that's like a much loftier goal, it seems, so like.
Right, I mean, like, but you have to back that up with why you think it is. Like,
right, okay.
If you just said it's an IPO in 5 years, and I just said, you know, well, I think you're wrong, the conversation's just ended there.
That's all you told me to say.
Yeah, back there.
So, what would you recommend for young entrepreneur-minded persons to kind of either start up young and learn by doing, or maybe kind of collect the kind of right kind of chips to play around later by, for example, working for McKinsey or working for some other kind of bigger companies from which you can, okay, you can't start up there, but you can learn quite a lot. So what would you?
Yeah, I don't
That's a
think you learn
strategy.
anything at McKinsey, or I don't think you learn anything at McKinsey or a large company that you could apply to a startup.
Yeah. So your answer would be startup, yeah, or like.
Well, I mean, so the caveat that I make is that I think in Silicon Valley, we have created the myth of the hero entrepreneur. And I guarantee you in this room, there are only like 2 or 3 of you who are truly founders of companies. If that. The risk profile that exists within you is not a high-tech, high-growth, VC-backable entrepreneur. And I don't think that is not a value judgment on anyone. I'm not that person, right? I came to a very clear realization. I don't have that risk profile. I actually don't have that lifestyle profile. I have 2 kids, 1 on the way. I don't actually want to be able to fly out at the drop of a hat and go to Europe to try to make that last sale, right? I am not that person. But I guarantee you that in this room, most of you are not that person either. And I think we do a huge disservice by creating the myth of that hero entrepreneur. It is not a better job, it's not more glamorous, it's not more romantic to be the founder of a company. The founders require great soldiers behind them and around them, right, to create great companies. And being part of that, next 25 employees, next 50 employees, next 100 employees, if you're an employee of a startup, it is just as important as the great founders that we have. And so distinguishing between those two is really important, right? What does it actually take to be the founder of a company? You will know. If you are sitting around brainstorming ideas with other people as to what's a good idea for a company, probably a harder sell that you're actually the founder of a company, right? I think that it's sort of the best ideas I've seen are really inherently organic within that person, the experiences that they've had. And they didn't even need to brainstorm because that idea was there all along. If you don't have that kind of compelling idea, I say join a founder who has that kind of compelling idea, because you'll learn so much more from that experience. And just knowing what that looks like, smells like, tastes like, will be a great learning experience and will teach you whether or not you yourself are an entrepreneur. And that's a question that only you yourself can answer. Thanks.